Welcome back, everybody, to Let's Talk About Sleep. You know the book. As we get closer to 1,000 subscribers, one lucky viewer at random will get a signed copy of that. But you got to be in it to win it, so make sure you subscribe to this channel. Please click like on this video. And if you have any questions on this or anything else we ever talk about, please leave a comment or a question in the comment section down below. I answer any and all questions once a month. With a video for that. And as I always say, these videos are for education only. If you follow my Instagram channel, which is Daniel Barone MD, you'll know that I recently was in Charlotte, North Carolina for the annual sleep meeting. This is a meeting that happens once a year, and it's for clinicians like myself, physicians, nurse practitioners, PAs, but it's also for researchers, PhDs, and other people who are in the sleep world, techs, overnight sleep techs. So it's a great meeting, and we get to, share our studies and our information and learn and reconnect with colleagues and stuff. It's a great time. It's sleep nerds, as I call it. But every year, there's really a lot of great information that comes from this. New studies that have come out, new information, things that are important. So I want to share with you guys in the next video or two, probably do 2 videos, some of the really important findings that have come out from this meeting. So without further ado, I'm just going to get into this, and then I'll kind of have my comments along the way. Okay, so the first thing I found interesting was there was a article or a study looking at sleep disturbances in those who have cardiac and neurologic conditions. And one of the things that was found was about half the patients who came to an academic healthcare center, primary care, family care, that kind of thing, with cardiac or neurologic condition. So cardiac could be AFib, could be having a heart attack, or a neurologic condition that could be a stroke, that could be a migraine or a headache. 50% of those people also had obstructive sleep apnea or other sleep disturbances. And that's super important because the things I always talk about on this channel, poor quality or poor quantity of sleep, not only can make people feel bad, right, just a kind of a day-to-day functioning, but also affects their health long term. And this study kind of confirmed that. All right, next. This one is about weight loss and lifestyle interventions. So this was published in JAMA. So they looked at adult males with moderate to severe sleep apnea who were also overweight or obese. And they found was, as opposed to just standard care, if they went on an 8-week weight loss and lifestyle intervention, including nutritional behavioral change, exercise, sleep hygiene, alcohol and tobacco cessation combined with usual care, almost half of those patients after the 8 weeks no longer required CPAP. So basically what this is saying is that with 8 weeks of intense, doing the right thing, the sleep apnea went away. Now, I don't know how accurate this is for everybody because, there are cases where somebody doesn't have or somebody has very severe sleep apnea, and chances are 8-week weight loss would not do enough. But the point, though, is that when you are in the context of somebody who's really taking care of themselves and taking care of their health seriously, sleep apnea really, really can improve. Okay? So that's a good, really interesting finding. Not a surprise at all, right? Another study looking at COPD, that's chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. This happens when people are smokers or have emphysema, all right? When somebody has poor sleep, whether it be from sleep apnea or insomnia, that is, in those patients who have COPD as well, there's a much higher risk of life-threatening flare-ups as opposed to those who sleep well or have sleep disorders that are under control. What does this mean? Basically, when somebody has poor sleep, the body is in an inflamed state. Okay, so like let's say sleep apnea, right? If somebody has untreated sleep apnea, not doing anything about it, and they have something like COPD, right? When we talked about that about a month ago, we talked about the overlap syndrome. That's what this is. The risk of a flare-up, a life-threatening flare-up, is much higher. Okay, so again, if you have this condition, it's very, very important to take care of any underlying sleep disorders as well. This is a really interesting one. So this is on sleep regularity and hypertension risk, or high blood pressure risk. So in this study, they looked at people across the world, and they looked at those who had irregularities in sleep timing and duration had an increased risk of hypertension. So not necessarily that they had insomnia, not necessarily that they had sleep apnea, okay, but just having varied timing and frequency of sleep. So one night you sleep from 12 a.m. to 7 a.m., the next night you sleep from 2 to 6 a.m., next night you sleep from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That kind of changing, right, for people, especially if they work shifts, for example, are at much higher risk for hypertension, okay? And most likely the reason for that is because, as I said, tell a lot of my patients, it's not only sleep quality and quantity, right? I always talk about that, but it's also the timing. We have to sleep in that window, ideally, that our brain wants us to sleep. And when we're outside of that, like people who work shift, for example, the quality of sleep is not going to be as good as it would be in that window of time, okay? And this study is kind of showing that. All right, so the last two studies are kind of bigger ones. I'll save that for the next video, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys some of the highlights that were discussed during the meeting, and some really, really interesting things. So, again, leave a comment down below, any questions on this or anything that we talk about, and keep an eye out for the next video. So we'll finish it up on, I think, even more interesting stuff. So until next time, sleep well.